Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It is your Caped Crusader, Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our brand new friend, Steven Lelito. Sorry about that tongue twister earlier. I am trying out this new thing. Instead of saying indie comic creator, I'm saying indie creator. So that way it kind of like, you know, is more inclusive, I guess, because I do manga, I do webtoons. So about like 80 interviews in, I'm like, you know, maybe I should kind of change it up. And man, I've done perfectly like for 3 interviews, and then I just drop the ball. But Steven, welcome to the stream. How are you doing, man? Welcome, dude.
No, I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, dude. We are starting this a little early. I had a scheduling mishap on my end, so I appreciate you coming just fresh off work and making time to hop on, man. I appreciate that a ton.
Likewise. We're both super busy family men, like we were discussing before.
So let's go ahead and begin. You know, the reason we're here, like, what dove you into to creating comics? I know you said you were a big fan of DC and everything. Like, you know, did that like kind of just like act as a catalyst to propel you into wanting to create them?
It's kind of been a lifelong thing. I was just never brave to dive into it. In elementary school, I was super into Calvin and Hobbes. That kind of followed me throughout my whole life. Reading it as a kid and then reading it as an adult, it's 2 different experiences. Mm-hmm. So I'd be reading things like that, and then one day I just it was actually my son. He was like about 3 or 4 at the time. We were at a buybacks, like a used movie place, and they had a deal where it was like buy 3 get 1 free. Oh. And so I put 3 DVDs up to the register, and they're like, you get a 4th one for free. And then he just bolts it to the movie, and he picks up a Batman one. He's like, Dad, can we get Batman? I'm like, sure, man, it looks cool. And there's like a picture of Nightwing standing all bold on it, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Dude, and then was it a DC animation?
Yeah, it was
okay.
Bad Blood.
Oh, so, yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. So fun fact, I didn't watch it with him because I figured it wouldn't be appropriate because it's only 4. But I watched and I got hooked. I was like, wait, what's going on? Who are all these people? Why is Batman so hardcore? Like, I like Batman, but this is a new Batman. And then I just went to a comic shop and I just had at it. And I've been since then. So,
dude, I love the DC animations. I think DC animation is like some of the most top tier animation, like compared to Marvel. But Marvel kills it cinematically. So, you know, I think DC really just kills it with the animation.
Yeah, because after that, I got hooked to the DC movies too. After watching Bad Blood, I watched The Killing Joke. I mean, it just kept going.
They're all good. So what broke you into actually like writing comics? You know, like, did you have any experience with script writing or any sort of like writing experience at all? Or did you kind of just say you wanted to just do this and started?
I've actually I'm not skilled in art whatsoever, but I used to make like little one-pagers. Just kind of how I'm feeling. Every school year I would have a new friend and I'd be like, hey, you're in a comic series with me now. I'd make like some stupid comic with us. Like in 6th grade, my friend Caesar had Steven and Caesar's Adventures. 7th grade.
I bet they loved it, huh?
Yeah, it was cool. It was all jokes, horrible art, probably cringy, you know. I used to make Yu-Gi-Oh fandom comics where I was a duelist with my favorite cards. You know, delicious stuff that I hope nobody ever finds.
Did you have the pieces of what is it, Exodius?
I didn't, but my friend did, and he would pull that like every other game. I'd be like, it's impossible. I swear he stuffed them in his shirt or something.
So, what created BoxBoy and Whiskers for you? I thought this was such a fun and, like, you know, rather unique take on things. I really love the skateboarder aspect of it. It kind of gave me like Bart Simpson vibes almost, if you would, if he had like a cat that was able to talk to him like telepathically.
Yeah, I'm an ex-skateboarder. I loved skateboarding until shoes and boards got too expensive.
Dude, that's like the same reason I quit. Like, I was like, dude, like I'm hitting like 25. Like when I fall, it hurts a little bit longer, and like the grip tape just eats these shoes up. Like, you know, you get cheap shoes, you run through them in a week. Expensive shoes maybe a month, and then you're screwed, you know.
And I wasn't good enough to get sponsors. I mean, I could kickflip like every 10 tries, but that's about as good as I got, you know.
And skating switch is like out of question, right?
Yeah, well, weirdly enough, I would be if I learned a switch trick, it was consistent. My regular tricks, I can do better tricks, but they took me longer to land. I couldn't even, I don't know, skateboarding did something to my brain. It was
it's
interesting.
Always weird like that, yeah.
But so skateboarding is kind of like a huge part of me. I'm catching up on the Battle of the Barracks tournaments right now. I watch like the X Games and know all the tricks they're doing. So I definitely was inspired by skateboarding when I made this. Obviously, he's a skateboarding kid vigilante. Who doesn't love cats, especially when you can make them in telepathic and purple? But the kid himself, BoxBoy, is just he's a troubled kid. And when I was writing his character, it was 2019, 2020. We all know how that turned out. Yeah. So I was kind of reverting into just kind of nostalgia, thinking about like my upbringing and everything, and just kind of like that darkness that kind of creeps in you when you're in a interesting situation, and that kind of helped me develop his character. So it's almost like ripping it from the past, if you will. So
I got you. So like, how did that feel? Did you feel like you were opening up any like old wounds, like writing this down, or was it like some sort of like therapeutic experience for you? Like, which end of the blade was it?
Kind of, sort of, because it's not necessarily like in the comic, it revolves around a boy named Bixby. He's 12 and he's an orphan. So I wasn't an orphan by any means, and I don't want to throw that out there.
I didn't want to ask the question. I was like, how do I dance around it?
Yeah, there's definitely the comic book. It's a comic book. I have to throw some tropes. Telepathic cats being one of them, but it's definitely like a coping mechanism. It's about support systems. So Bixby's kind of a broken kid. He handles things a little bit abrasively, as you can tell in some of the panels, but he has a support system that he can go to, and even though he doesn't treat them how he probably should, they're there for him, and it's clearly expressed that they'll do anything for him. They understand him. So he's just kind of at that confused point in his life, which is where I kind of felt I was. Even though I'm an adult with 3 kids, I still felt like
it's still confusing having 3 kids, because it's like, damn, like I just officially moved my my oldest son to underwear. It's been such a battle potty training him, and every time I'm like, dude, just please go number 2, just do it. And he's like, no, and he never would. And then he just all of a sudden, dude, went, and I'm like, dude, for real? And then he just started to keep going, and I'm like, dude, this is unreal. And he's like, yeah, I like doing it now. I'm like, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't understand. So confusing. It doesn't get any less confusing. If anything, it gets worse.
Yeah, and you can't really explain it to people who don't have kids, because they're like, he pooped, that's exciting, and you're like, he pooped and it was the best thing ever.
Dude, he pooped 3 times today on the toilet. I was like, what? But dude, it was awesome. Yeah. Look at us, funny. Just shit talking right now. It's beautiful. So, what else went into this? When you first started writing, tell us some of your trials and tribulation. How did you end up finding the artist and the other parts of the creative team? Let's start digging in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, interestingly enough, BoxBoy and Whiskers were characters of another story that I wrote that was in production at the time. With COVID and everything, the artist I was working with for my other projects, he's like, I'm too busy, I can't do this right now. But I was so invested in the characters that I was like, what if I made a side story of them? And then I ended up meeting an artist in a comic group. There's a comic group I follow on Facebook, which is a lot of people you interview might be a part of. It's a really good one. And I said,
Wait, what's it called?
It's called I Create Comics. It's a Facebook group.
I'm not a part of that. I definitely want to be a part of it, though.
Really cool. You'll find people who just want to passionately create comics, and they need a writer, or they need an artist, or they need a colorist, letterist, any part of the equation. So for me, I was really interested in the colors of the ongoing Sonic comic that's going on right now by IDW. I was obsessed with the colors of that one, so I wanted something super colorful. And then there's an indie comic. It's kind of an older one called Toon Squad. And Fiction Squad, not Toon Squad, Fiction Squad.
Oh, you're fine.
I said, hey, can somebody draw this and color like this? And surely enough, I got a bunch of people kind of submitting me their resume, and I felt like a boss. I'm over here like, okay.
Was it like overwhelming going through it?
It was exciting because I felt taken seriously. As a writer, it's really hard to feel taken seriously sometimes. So I'm sifting through a good 50 messages, just like, oh my goodness. And then I finally see one that clicks, and I'm like, this is the guy. So we kind of talk a little bit, and he's just really in it and very optimistic. I'll have to post his tag or give him some spotlight too.
Yeah.
Bronson Art on Instagram, but he just was able to tackle it. Every time I'd ask him a question, I'm like, do you know anything about skateboarding? He's like, no, but I'll learn. So I'd send him skate videos and
that is cool. Yeah, he was about it, taking it 110%, huh?
And I was like, do you like drawing cats? He's like, obviously. So it just worked out. Worked out that way. And then same with the colors. I said, I'm looking for a like Sonic the Hedgehog style color scheme, and just found it. It was awesome. So once I was looking, it was just a matter of finding the funds, and then I kickstarted the first issue, and it was miraculously successful. There were enough people interested.
So what was your original funding goal that you were looking at trying to get, and then what goal did you hit?
So the funding goal was $3,000, and I hit a little over $3,200.
Wow, dude, that's not bad for your first book. Like, that is awesome, man. We have Random American 3000 over on Twitch asking if you got a plan for the video game tie-in.
A video game tie-in?
Yeah.
Would absolutely love that. That's dreaming really big, and believe me, I want to do that. But eventually, I would love to have that. But comics first, I guess. I gotta start small, baby steps. But that's awesome. That I would love that. I'd love an adventure game with that.
So, what inspired you for BoxBoy then? His like alter ego, if you would.
We're gonna learn about that in issue 2, kind of his origin. But basically, he wants to hide his identity, but he's 12 and he lives kind of in a basement thing, and he can only be so crafty with his resources. So he kind of just has a box on his head. His name is Bixby. He goes by BoxBoy. Very similar kind of name there. But so, his origin... Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, but his origin will be revealed in issue 2, which I'm really excited to share with everybody when it comes out.
So we actually have the opportunity to check out issue 1. We're going to be checking out with Steven, who wrote it. So I think that's such a cool experience. I always love doing that. It's really cool because usually what I think and what you were intending are often two different variables. Oh yeah, but I love seeing how everyone interprets it, because that's what makes it beautiful. So right here is BoxBoy issue number 1 BoxBoy and Whiskers issue number 1. So what are we seeing right here on this cover? Give us a little bit of a breakdown of what's going on. So I definitely want everybody to know it's a skateboarding vigilante. So if you love skateboarding, I recommend reading it. There's some cool sequences. It shows off BoxBoy and his little telepathic cat partner in crime there. The artist and I were actually talking about the cover where he said, you always see Batman or superheroes jumping over buildings. What if he was doing a trick over a building? Say no more. So that's what we're kind of seeing here. It screams vigilante. It screams kind of what they stand for. So where are we set at in the future? It seems like more of a futuristic setting too. It's a fictional setting. I definitely wanted San Francisco vibes, mainly for the slopes, because he's gonna basically skateboard around the city and do some cool stuff. But yeah, it's definitely modern to future style. Minus the people. The people kind of dress like very townsy, which you're going to notice in the art too. So it's definitely intended to make you think that, okay, this place doesn't exist, but it's definitely based off of maybe like a San Francisco style city. I gotcha. All right, let's go ahead. Right here is the creation team, so we'll give a little bit of a focus to that as well. Well, if you want to go ahead and give maybe a shout out. No, absolutely. I'm Steven Lelito. That's me. Hey. From Boston, he's the artist. He does traditional pencils and inks. He's amazing. And then Amalia Garcia, she does all my color.
both of them, I actually have their tags. I'm at the back of the book, so we'll just freeze on that page for anybody who wants to give them some love too. And then Lelito Verse, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and then I have my website there too.
Okay, so we start off with our main character awakening in an orphanage, and I thought this was an interesting take to have him kind of in the orphanage, and it gets really intense real quick. He starts off saying, "My name is Bixby, and I'm going to kill sheep or kill sleep." It ends up forming in like a kind of like a personification of sheep. Like you start out with these pillows, and then I really love the idea of them morphing into sheep. What was some of your inspiration behind that? I thought that was pretty cool, because then he's like, "Oh no, I'm starting to count them," and I thought it was such a clever way to kind of tie it in.
Yeah, he's clearly having a trip here. It states that he hasn't slept in a little over 3 days, and he definitely has an advanced vocabulary for a 7-year-old, but he's definitely just clearly a weirdo here. He dreams a lot, he thinks a lot. This scene was actually inspired by my 4-year-old who refuses to take naps. He just gets belligerent and starts it's almost like he's...
It's horrible, isn't it? It's horrible. Yeah. It's like, little dude, if you just go to bed, it would be better.
Yeah, but he's like, nope, absolutely not. He starts saying the most outlandish things. So this was definitely inspired from probably being a dad, I would say.
So we go down and we see that he's quickly outnumbered. And as I said earlier, he was counting them and starting to doze off. And I thought that was funny. He must not count sheep and then have to focus. And then we see him pull out a strap, and he gets ready, starts zapping him away. And this is kind of where I thought it was really interesting. You see like feathers. So it's kind of like the visualization, he's still in the dream world, but this is like the actual like real life happening too. So I like that attention to detail.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So then another huge sheep comes up, and this is when things get real insane. We see him go head to head. I thought this was an awesome panel too, seeing him go right up to the face of it, and it's all like menacing and evil looking. And then it starts drooling on him. It knocks him down, starts drooling on him, and this is when he wakes up and realizes it was all just a dream.
Yeah, and he's covered in like a nervous sweat, clearly from not sleeping, which that's a huge after effect of not sleeping. You get like the nervous sweats and like the shake. So that's clearly what he's going through right now.
Everyone else next to him's getting woken up, and they're not happy. Is this is the one little foreshadowing right here, isn't it?
The foreshadow.
The one that he meets later on?
No, that's not. But honestly, he looks kind of similar, minus the hair. But
yeah, I was like, man, I did not get. That's why I always love going through these too. Like, I was like, oh my god, did I miss that the whole time?
That's really, you're really keen on things like that, though. That's really cool.
I gotta be, man. It makes these interviews a lot more interesting,
I'm like, what else do you think? No.
This is when he gets this is the headmistress, I'm assuming, of the orphanage, right?
Yeah, the orphan keeper, absolutely.
Yeah, so Miss Matilda, and interesting vocabulary for sure for a 7-year-old, calling them bastards, and she is not pleased one bit. And this is kind of like the montage, if you will. We get a little bit of internal dialogue of who he is and what's going on. So what are we seeing right here?
So right there, it's kind of like laughing at like a Rocky style where he's like so he's doing like push-ups and he's like scaling a mountain and everything. But this is just kind of his journey of leaving and growing up. You'll see the younger version of him on the left, and then when you scroll down and see the next page, you see the older version that he turns into. His hair is a little bit more mature. He's a little bit more filled out.
Yeah.
And he starts, jumping over buildings and skateboarding and getting better. And he's lifting some buckets to.
And I love how your artist did this page too. I'm assuming this is the like almost like a splash page, right? This would be the left and this would be the right.
Yeah, it actually shows as one image when you're reading it. Which is really. I have the physical book here. I can show you here.
Let me go ahead and.
Yeah, so that's what it's gonna look like in the actual book.
Oh yeah, that's. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I wanted to kind of zoom out so we can get that as big as possible. That looks awesome, though. I think that, yeah, that's really cool. So this is kind of, I love the name too, Vert City. I'm like, dude, the influences are just, it's like, this might as well just be Tony Hawk Pro Skater. But we get an idea of what's going on. You know, we see there's a lot of corporate people and a lot of like artificials who are just stuck to their phones. And Bixby is just trying to survive like in between. You know, I kind of felt a lot of this, but then this is kind of that guy, you know, this is where it kind of like, and I drew that inspiration because the face almost looked exactly similar. So who is this?
So that's somebody, won't lie, you'll find out who they are in issue 2.
Okay.
The intention here is that, yes, he's somebody from his past. Who exactly he is, we don't know, but Bixby clearly does not like this guy.
Yes.
He clearly to him.
And we see, you know, Bixby get up and it's a little bit of a confrontation. This guy goes to grab his wrist and Bixby snaps, and I mean, I guess snap is an appropriate word because he ends up breaking his wrist.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's saying tears and everything pathetic, and all these bystanders are just like watching, and it's just making a huge scene. I thought that was really interesting because then, you know, you see people busting out the phones. Like, this feels like a really like realistic like thing that would happen, you know, like cause and effect that would actually happen had this happen in like real life.
Yeah, without a doubt. Everybody would pull out their phones before they called the police or yell for help. They would immediately just try to get it on video, post it on some form of social media, without a doubt.
And I really love too, he's like, I don't have time for this enough, grabs his phone and smashes it, and that's when the cops get involved. I thought that, you know, things start to escalate rather fast, and both cops start gaining on him, and I love this too. You see him throw this out. So what is this right here? You know, I know it's a smoke grenade, but is there any sort of like technical term for it or anything?
I just call it a smoke bomb, because that's basically, yeah, it's like a smoke grenade, smoke bomb.
Is this something that he makes?
Yeah, he makes them, and you kind of see him a little bit on the techie side towards the end of the issue, where he clearly has like an HQ of some sort where he rigs everything, and we'll get into that too. But yeah, he carries these on him because you never know when you need to get away.
Yeah. And yeah, and right here he's like, little do these cops know how well I know these streets. And I just loved how he's able to just to kind of like escape, but while doing tricks. I would never do that because I would crash. Like, I'd be the first one to like hit a curb and just like flip. But yeah, he's over here nailing out a kick flip, doing an indie grab down some stairs over people.
That's up.
Yeah, dude, I used to be a skate. I was an amateur pro, man. I used to be shredding it up way back in the day. Way back, you know, nothing too crazy, but dude, I was there for a hot second. My old, when I was like 15 through 21, dude, like I would do nothing but skate every single day.
That's awesome.
Every day, dude.
Skateboard everywhere, and which was
I still drive by and I'm like, dude, that's a fucking nice stair set. Like you see like a nice level 3 or 4, like with the ledge going down. It's like, man, if only I was like, if only my knees were like 10 years older.
I do that same thing, but in my right down the street, there's this 5 stair, and there's a really smooth runway, no cracks, and I'm always thinking, I should just
do a mini quarter in the back would be so hot, or a mini half pipe would be so hot. Maybe, I don't know. It's been years since I skated. So even while he's getting away from these cops, so he's not knocking out a board slide, just left and right, does not care, man. He's just shredding, dude. He's shredding, getting away. And boom, he hits a rock, and this was a hell of a rock too, because it broke his board in half.
Yeah.
So we see him hit the ground, and right there, it looks like our man's in the thick of it. The police have him at gunpoint, or taser point, I should say. They say it's a stun gun. But yeah, things are looking crazy. I love this lighting too of the police cars and everything.
Oh yeah, thank you. I had fun lettering this scene in particular because the little whoop.
Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome. So things are getting pretty chaotic, and so he knew this officer's name was Officer Reeves. Is he able to kind of read minds as well?
No, but I did kind of want that to be because with the particular way he's doing it, and that's definitely a good thought. That's a really good That's awesome.
I read a lot of comics.
You do, but you pay attention to the small details and everything, which is super cool.
And most people would not believe me when I said that I read this literally 10 minutes before we started talking.
I can vouch. I saw the download.
So, we scroll down a little bit more, and, out of his pocket, he knocks out another smoke bomb, and things get really, insane, really clouded real quick. So real quick, how did he know it was Reeves? Like, how do you get that upper hand on him?
Yeah, I hate to sound like a broken record, but that's a mystery that you're gonna find out later in the series.
Okay, all right, hey, not a problem. So we kind of get the idea that they might know each other too, which is interesting.
Yeah, but how? Dun, dun, dun.
So the smoke bomb goes off, and we see him go to Manny's skate shop, and this was another really interesting interaction. I thought we kind of get a little, I don't know, if it's too early to say, maybe, they're young too, so I don't know if you'd call it a love interest, but that little, it's starting to blossom, I would say. That's not out of pocket.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's, you're 12, you're confused, you don't really know. Women tend to mature faster, so she's probably has more feelings, but she's also a kid. Mm-hmm. Him, he's kind of naive, like definitely not mature yet, so.
And then this is the only skate shop in Vert City. That made me laugh because the whole city's named Vert City, so for this to be the only one, it's like,
yeah.
So we get a little bit of a breakdown though of what this is, who Manny is, and his daughter Raina. Is it Raina? Raina. So he needs a new board because this is completely broken, and Manny's pretty much letting him know that he's not going to give him one for free. This is something he is a business. He needs to pay. He's like, spares, like this is a business, not some charity. And I loved it too, because he's like, please, sir. But then his daughter Raina's like, come on, Dad, he's good for it. And I would be like, bro, like, why would you do that? You know? Because it puts you in such a situation. And of course he wants the golden the Grind Max 2002. So what's this board? The story behind this board compared to the other ones? I know you probably never thought that in depth about it, but what made this board so special?
I did.
Okay.
It's kind of like internal branding, if you will. Just like Manny's skate shop. Manny's skate shop is like the skate shop of Vert City. You're gonna start noticing other things in future issues too, but the Golden Grind Max 2000 is like the luxury board. It's the designer brand board. Do you remember you'd skateboard and you'd probably buy like blanks or like shop boards?
Yeah. CCS blanks.
Yeah. And you would
the throwback, isn't it?
The brand board, like when Ryan Sheckler was huge, like the Ryan Sheckler Plan B or the Rob Deere.
God, I hated Ryan Sheckler. You liked him?
No,
you liked him?
Well, I can't hate him. But no, but he was super huge. And I can give. This was the Chris Cole Zero. You like that one better?
I love Chris Cole.
Same, honestly.
Dude, he did this fucking, what was it, a Switch 360, like a 360 flip down this huge set, and I remember watching it and be like, wow, let alone I could never do that, but the fact that he did it Switch, and like, it was like, at that moment, I'm like, I could never like hit this level. You know what I mean? I would be dead. I would be a pancake on, but like, man, that guy's knees, like, let me have the endurance that his knees has.
He's still doing stuff. He's actually one of the finalists in the Barracks tournament right now, if you catch him on that. And like I was telling you before, I got his shoes. He just rejoined Fallen, so I made sure I ordered his shoes right away. I'm still a fan. Yeah,
dude. So we scroll down a little bit and we notice that he just takes the board. He just takes it and runs.
Yeah, survival mode all the way.
And we get a little bit of a glimpse like he's family. So this was a little bit of an interesting take. We know that he's an orphan, but they must take him under their wing to some degree.
Yeah.
And then we get a look at his hangout, and I really love this look. It's he has to crawl through some air ducts, go through a ladder. And this is where we meet Whiskers. So what is Whiskers? He seems like an interesting feline, or is that also going to be revealed in issue number 2? So
Whiskers is a whole nother can
He's
of worms.
Like issue number 3.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. He's the mystery and that's just a mystery that will grow and grow and grow and grow.
Because you can tell something's up with him. He's not a regular cat. Yeah,
there's a reason why he doesn't come with Bixby. If you notice, Bixby's setting a can of tuna, and this is something that you kind of just infer. Do you know why he was out? If you had any guesses,
I would have had no idea.
Yeah, he's out stealing cat food for his cat.
Yeah,
that's why he's even out in the first place. So obviously he's aware that his cat is weird, but he also doesn't know the world very well. Like he definitely has disdain for the world, but he's like kind of no questions asked. My cat communicates with me.
Yeah,
it is what it is. But I know I shouldn't publicize this, but at the same time, it's comforting to me. Like he's my best friend.
So then we get a little introduction that this is his headquarters. And it's looking a little rough for wear, you know. It's home, but you could tell he's definitely not living his best life here. And you know, of course, this is like he considers this his best friend, not even his pet, but his best friend. So I thought that was another interesting thing as well. And they're able to talk telepathically, which I thought was really interesting. So right here, you kind of give a breakdown that he's far from your traditional house cat. He's purple and has weird stripe pattern, and he communicates telepathically. So I thought that was really awesome. The cat right here, of course, is talking a little trash, saying, and you, my friend, have poor conversational skills. And I love that. That was so hilarious. He's like, so no, I'm not arguing with myself like a crazy person. So why make him be able to talk to the cat telepathically?
I actually, and this was in another series, Whiskers is a species of cat, and that is how they communicate. So more on that later, I guess you can say. But
did you know cats from like different, like, so a cat from China and a cat from the United States of America would not be able to understand each other's meows?
I read about that somewhere.
Isn't that freaking crazy?
I find it very interesting.
Like, so like they have almost their own unique language to like what area of the world they're in. That's mind blowing.
That is. That's super cool. Little facts like that are just.
I'm filled with them, dude.
Please, we need more of those.
Right here, he's like, why would I need those? You know, I don't want friends. And maybe you just want a girlfriend. And he's like, you're dumb. Then the cat calling him out to Bixby and Raina sitting in a tree. I love that too. And then just a little bit of, you know, humorous back and forth discourse between the two. And this cat kind of starts getting deep. You know, there's no coming back for a lost soul. Like, dang, dude. Dang, Whiskers. Yeah. I love this part too. That we get to see the infamous helmet. And right here, he's like, does it increase your stats? Like, what are you talking about, Whiskers?
Yeah, no, he's definitely... Bixby's kind of like the brooding, and then Whiskers is definitely here to like bring him to light. Which the next page definitely shows that no matter how obnoxious he gets, he's very no matter how obnoxious he is, they're just best friends.
Yeah. And I love this too. They go to turn on the news, and then we see pretty much everything that happened. We see that right here's Bixby on the news, and then the cat's pretty much just like, you know, you should have wore that mask. But then we get a little bit of a revelation right here too, that person he met is someone from his past. But he doesn't want to really go into it too deep. But yeah, right here, you know, you get a little bit of that dialogue you're talking about as well. You know, they might argue a lot, but they're really, in the end of it, best friends. But then we see something really interesting on the news happen as well. There's a big crater that just popped up. And it looks like it's aliens. They say it's an alien landing. Investigators report sightings of a ship with unknown technology. And it's only a day and a half away on foot. Like, that's a long trek. I can't believe he was about that life.
Yeah, no, he is. He's used to it. Whiskers is not about that life, though. He's like,
so what drove you to want to include aliens within this? It seems like it was already kind of like such like an insane concept, but to add aliens into the mix just makes it literally out of this world.
Well,
see what I did
there? You're good. You're a super dad. I pride myself on dad jokes, but you definitely got one on me, man. what's weirder is how I thought of this on top of the aliens, because the aliens came first. There's another comic that I had that I was working on, which focuses on aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to Earth, where BoxBoy and Whiskers is. But they're arriving there is what is. This is what they're basically seeing.
So is
right
that like
now.
kind of in the same universe then? Is that
Yes.
is that comic like canon?
Yes, it is. It's going to be. It's actually.
Oh, it's in production.
It's in production. I actually got the first issue penciled and inked. So
Ooh.
we're gonna see snippets of later this year.
Dude,
So
let's go.
when I say Lelito verse, I mean Lelito verse.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
So we see him don the old trusty cardboard helmet shaped in the way, you know, the shape of a cat. Been working on more than just a boxily cat, and now from now on they're gonna have to try to catch me. So I get a little bit of introduction to the golden board and what it's capable of. I like this little jet on it here. Did you kind of like design this kind of help him like travel like rooftop to rooftop, or you know, what was your inspiration for the rocket board?
The rocket board, I wanted him to kind of have the power of temporary flight. I wanted him to definitely be able to fast travel.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted it to be a comic book, because when you're skateboarding, you can only go so. But if you have a rocket, a rocket attached to a skateboard, obviously wouldn't really work out, but it would in this series, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing is, yeah, he's got to be kind of equipped with almost like an armory. Like he has his smoke bombs. He has his rocket board. Like he's kind of ready to rock the world and maybe fight some crime or do some good.
So we get a nice little close-up of him with Whiskers as they are leaving. And then underneath I thought was a really interesting couple pages as well. So elsewhere, we see that person from earlier where he broke the wrist, and there's an interesting group of people right here. We really don't have any idea who they are. Everyone is kind of masked and hidden behind, you know, this kind of like secrecy. And they call him out. And like right here, he's like, it's Craig with a C. And things get really insane. I really love like the red lettering. You can kind of really get the menacing feel. And they're really persistent on finding out how Bixby escaped. You get a kind of an insane feeling of like, what has he done? Like, why is this group of people after him? And you get a kind of a deeper look of this guy was involved in a lot more than just trying to catch up. And yeah, he runs away. This guy is insane too. He punches a little hole in a brick wall. Like, I was like, damn, dude, this guy is not playing around. I kind of got the feeling that Bixby might have a little bit of super strength. I wasn't sure because he broke his wrist so easily. But this guy right here kind of gives me the same feeling that he's able to do kind of something similar. So it gets really, really insane. He's like, you know, Craig's like, I need to go to the hospital. And he's like, yes, you do. And he's like, break his other wrist, and it gets insane. They start beating the crap out of him with ball bats, dude. And yeah, this guy right here, this was a really interesting panel. Like, he's standing up, bleeding fists. And we find out after 5 whole years, it turns out he's been alive. So it's something happened from the time that he left that orphanage and in between his, you know. So I'm really curious on where we see this guy tying in with issue number 2. And like I said, this dude's just getting beaten with a pipe and a ball bat. Like, oof.
Yeah. Not the greatest way to go out, huh?
Oof, yeah. Man. So real quick, let me go ahead. Go to our main chat. So thank you for breaking that down. What, you know, where are we looking at with issue 2? You know, how far away are we looking at that dropping? You know, you said it was in the works, right?
Yeah, issue 2. Well, I'm pretty far in the works with BoxBoy and Whiskers in general. Issue 5 is actually nearly done with pencils and inks. So this is a series that I've been planning it for quite a while. I have a great creative team that we've been just banging it out left and right.
Let's go, dude.
2 is almost done with colors. So it's a matter of, I'm basically snowballing the funds from issue 1 to pay for issue 2. So based off the way it's going, some more traction would obviously be wonderful, but based off the way it's going, we're maybe a month or 2 out when we can see issue 2 come into fruition, which, not to spoil anything, but we're going to see a Bixby origin story, and we're definitely going to find about this mysterious evil character.
And for anyone that's interested, the website is in the description. You can go there and pick up a digital or a physical. Do you want to give everyone the prices on those?
No, absolutely. The digital copies are $2.99 USD, and then the physical copies are $4.99. Try to make them the price of a regular comic book. I appreciate all the support. I'm not going to,
awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So before we wrap up completely, Steven, let me ask you this one question I love asking everyone I interview. And that is if there's anyone out there kind of starting for the first time with creation, with writing, or just anything in general with comics, and they're kind of just struggling to get started, what type of advice would you give them to kind of just get the ball rolling and get going?
For one, whether you're a writer or an artist, flesh out some idea, some way, just flesh it out. Do as much of it as you can. If you are an artist, draw the characters. If you're a writer, write the characters, write what they look like, write as much of the story as you can. I'd recommend joining the I Create comic books.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Send me a DM with their link, because I definitely want to get in.
Will join some sort of community. Social media is beautiful for communities like that. Go to a comic shop. If you like comic books, go to a comic shop. I cannot tell you how many comic nerds I've talked to who, I draw, I read, or can I buy your comic book? It's crazy. You'll network with these people who just kind of get a good vibe for your personality, and they'll kind of want to just support you. They can see the passion in your eyes. But the most important thing is, don't just say, oh, it's impossible, and stop. Look, and don't stop looking, because it took me years to get this going. It took me years. It was not an overnight thing. It was years of banging my head against the wall and crying every other night that I didn't have a comic out. But that's what it honestly took.
Hey, I appreciate that. That was such an awesome take. I've asked that question a handful of times. This is my I want to say my 84th interview. And wow, man, in 4 months we've been knocking them out left and right, and that's definitely been one that's been a little bit different than I'm used to. So I always love seeing different perspectives and views on that. Steven, I appreciate you coming on here, breaking down BoxBoy and Whiskers issue number 1, going through the issue with us. That was a really cool experience. I always love doing that, and I can't wait to get you back on for issue 2. As soon as you get issue 2, let's get you back on, man.
Oh, Cody, without a doubt, we'll be
yeah, let's go. And for everyone in chat that stopped back in to watch another interview, I hope you guys have a fantastic night. Most importantly, though, keep it geekly.